for Library of Congress. We've heard a lot about the financial services not being included under the data localization provision. But it's obvious how that impacts financial services firms. But what I'd like to understand is how does it or could it potentially impact non-financial services firms, given that you all deal with customers and financial data. Some of you have subsidiaries or parts of the companies that specifically deal with financing. So I'd be curious about how it impacts the non-financial services firms.
Sure. I mean, I think it does have a broader impact, as you're kind of implying. For sure, from the point of view of a technology company, a cloud provider, these are our customers, right? So to the extent that you start to have governments who are sort of peeling a whole sector out of the general presumption and norm that you should be able to have distributed computing infrastructure and not have, not require local storage, sure, there's that kind of impact. I think also there's more broadly an impact on sort of the norm. And so, why does the argument make more sense in the financial services sector than the health sector, than in any other sector? So I do think there's kind of a broader principle issue of, how do you think about location in the context of information and information security and information protection?
It's also getting harder and harder to define a financial services company. Is PayPal a financial services company or a technology company? Is Intuit a financial service company or a technology company? The financial services chapter is targeted at regulated financial institutions, but where does that put a payments company? And so that gets back to the importance of having a unified standard and unified exceptions.
I think these points are related to the general point that I was trying to make, that particularly with the digital economy, pervasive across all different types of functions, the classifications that we've been relying on over the years are becoming more and more awkward, right? The example that I think about on financial services are the online banking, right? Mobile banking that is very much used in emerging economies. It was really catapulted into prominence coming out of Africa, right? We don't use it that much here because we're all banked, but people elsewhere aren't. And so, and there's a lot of cross-border going on there, including, I've heard very compelling descriptions of even among, transfer of remittances or funds across borders in Africa. Now, we don't have a lot of trade agreements there except for WTO, right? But there may be something in the future. So I guess my point is that we really need to do some hard thinking going forward as to how to deal with these different types of definitions and classification and make sure things don't inadvertently fall through the cracks. So definitely try to deal with this, but it's an even bigger question for future thinking.
Doug. Hi, Doug Palmer with Politico. Mr. Ross, I thought I'd ask you, just because you spoke about this issue. I mean, you said that you thought that the administration and financial services industries were working, trying to resolve the issue. I just wonder if you could kind of help me understand. I mean, if there is a side letter or some sort of side agreement, what is it that it would say? Because my understanding is the administration is saying you can't renegotiate the actual agreement, so you couldn't change the problem that's in the agreement. So what would the side agreement say? Just that we're never ever going to do this again in any other future agreement? I mean, what could you say in a side? Is it a side agreement that's between the administration and the financial services industry, or is it a side agreement that's between all 12 partners to the negotiation, saying we didn't really mean what we said in the actual agreement, this is what we mean? If you have any sense, I mean, I'm just trying to understand it.
Yeah, probably not the answer you're going to want to hear. It's a pity that Ambassador Holliman left, because he's the one who would know what they're actually thinking about doing. We have to see first what the administration conclusion they come to on what they can do, and then we can figure out how to do it. I think if the industry were here, what they would say is they don't particularly care about the legal mechanism, particular mechanism that might be used to address this concern. They would just like to see it addressed in a way so that they're not left out in the cold.
So I think with that, this felt more like a digital economy summit than it did a simple meeting. And so I'm going to cut it off there and let everyone go to lunch. I'm going to turn it back to Ken. Thank you for having us.